We're going to be jumping straight into pick and bans once again, and the bans will remain the same. G2, of course, on the blue side, with Mad on the reds, Gragas via Rakan for G2, and Draven, Olaf, Maokai for red.
So I've had a preference for the Jinx side of it, but we've seen it completely flipped as well for the Aphelios. So looks like they're going to lock the Nautilus once again, and they don't really care
They're just
that
going to run
much.
it back. Why wouldn't they? I think G2 was early game from their perspective.
Okay.
It's just we threw that game. Why would we pick anything else? So let's see how G2 change things up. The answer is that they will not. They're doing the exact same thing. No way is this a salty run back. No way. Is this a Braum lock-in right now?
I think we're definitely going to get something besides Aurelia.
Oh yeah, we are not getting Aurelia.
We're not that salty.
I mean, I don't know, right? The Aurelia only failed because
All right,
they
I
misplayed the
will
die.
bet you any order of magnitude of whatever you want right now that there's not going to be another Aurelia.
Okay, I really want to take it because you said anything.
Yeah.
So that's the bet I kind of want to take here, Kobe.
In-game? In-game? In-game only? Okay.
Is the Braum locking. Last game, Mad Lions banned out Thresh Cannon. G2 banned out the Jace.
Okay, we're getting something different.
Okay,
No
okay.
salty run back, okay?
We've learned, okay.
Imagine G2 ban the Aurelia now. Don't expect it to happen. The Elise ban does make a lot of sense. So AP Junglers will be the name of the game. You know, you were joking earlier, Kobe, about like what other pocket picks does Yike have, and then Medic said Lilia, and then I was like, oh, well, unlikely to see that. Well, it's getting more likely, Kobe. We are getting closer.
However, I do really want the Cassiopeia to be the only AP. Because then you're the only AP threat. They're not going to stack with a lot of magic resist. And I think that was very beneficial last time around.
I agree with that. Lulu banned away. Mad Lions now looking probably for, you could go jungle here, and then you save that Cassante flex for R5, means that you have the ability to move it either into mid and top and then counterpick what we see from G2. We assume this Cassio is top lane, but Caps can always bring it out. He's been well known for his Cassio over the years, and you can just move that Nautilus down to support. So there's the jungle, Wukong, for Mad Lions.
Yeah, I was going to say Wukong's really good for these team fights to get into the low mobility backline, and already they want some sort of extra escape now for those carries, it looks like.
Makes a lot of sense. I think the Thresh does provide that added extra safety, and we expected this Nautilus to go into the mid lane with the Cassiopeia alongside it. But wow!
The buffed Janna with the shield regen.
We also saw Janna in the LEC playoffs. I forget exactly who it was, but I swear we saw a Janna.
It's so good versus Wukong. They just locked in the Wukong and try and boot.
It's like the ultimate disengage tool, right?
Yeah.
We don't see it very often. But into a Braum, I feel like there's just a free lane, right?
It was Trimby against Mad Lions.
It was Trimby, yeah. I knew I'd seen a Janna somewhere. And the Kindred locked in for Yike. Okay, so the front line for G2, only really Nautilus, but disengage, their survivability, their peel, very prevalent here on the G2 side. They really are putting a lot of weight into the Hans Summer Broken Blade carry basket.
Yeah. Janna looks kind of flimsy, but really so much CC in this kit. So many options here for Mickey to keep his carry safe.
Niski rounding things out with an Ahri, tried and true in terms of the meta. Mad have a very traditional composition. Their engage isn't the strongest, but because they've buffed up their engage tools with the Wukong, the Braum follow-up is there. The amount of dive threat that this Mad Lions composition has, it's why it's so strong in the current meta.
And I think Mad Lions are going to have to use a lot of that to actually get picks rather than go for the full vibe, because the Janna with the Kindred also has the added benefit of you can Kindred ultimate and then sweep your enemies off of your own Kindred ultimate right before it drops.
That's true.
So you get massive, massive healing.
Just blow them away with that Janna pick. We'll see how Mickey is able to use it. I have seen Trimby on it. I can't remember the last time we saw Mickey on the Janna. He does sometimes bring out some of these enchanters. His Soraka, obviously, something we've seen a couple of times.
We'll see how good he is with his Qs. The Tornadoes are always the test of the good Janna players. Or if he starts to get picked off, like last game on the Lulu was many, many repetitive picks here on the squishy support looking for vision. So
I will say G2 have brought us something new every game. The last time we saw Janna on the international stage was MSI 2018, 5 years ago, and Mickey's played it twice in his career and has won once and lost once. So this is the deciding game for him as to whether we can class him, as a Janna player. But it does work well in this composition. as we make our way onto the Rift for the third match between G2 and Mad Lions. What could be the end of Mad Lions' MSI run after their lower bracket run at the LEC. I think people wondered exactly what Mad Lions would show up, how much they'd be able to challenge. And I think they have been found a little bit wanting so far at MSI.
Very much agree. I think that Mad Lions, they wanted to represent Europe as their first seed. And so far, it's been nothing but struggles. And every time we've seen them in an advantageous position, they have failed to close it out. Their backs are now as close to the wall as they could be. No more second chances, no other opportunities. It is win or be eliminated. And Mad Lions, it looks like they're setting up for an early invade.
Braum obviously so good in these early invades. Cap's going to step next to the wall here. Gets a little bit more vision on the bot side of mid bush, but now he steps forward. Hylissang's going to mark him with the Winter's Bite and flashes away because he knows Nisqy can flash for the stun follow-up. There's the charm, and Caps isolated from the rest of his team. He will be the first to fall.
Exactly what Mad Lions need right now. Backs against the walls, must-win game. They go for delayed invade level 1. Not only are they going to be able to steal away the red, they get the pick, they get the kill onto the mid lane, and this Nautilus, which had such a rough early start last game, now has no teleport, no flash.
Hang on a second.
It's 2 minions lost.
2 minions.
Yeah.
How much? Kazi, well, he has a tiny bit of experience.
I think he only got the XP from the kill and one of those minions dying.
I'm not sure he did. Either way, they're going to struggle in terms of XP. They will be behind the bot lane. Already we see the Janna looking to move, offer a bit of assistance in mid, but as you rightly said, Caps losing the TP. You have to question what his game plan was there with the early ward. Wanted to try and track, I guess, if this invade would come through. Didn't consider the delayed invade, and he ends up getting punished massively. Nisqy securing that first blood is going to accelerate the Ahri, and it's something you never really want to do because of how much additional wave clear it gives her in the early laning phase, getting those items as quickly as you can.
Good tornado, that's our test. So far, Mickey is passing the test. Flash now, also off of Karzi. So even though G2 lose a lot of mid pressure, their bottom lane is going to gain a lot from this. There's a ward, by the way, that will see Yike come to this half of the map. The ward left behind by Elyoya on the Wukong as he was by Raptors. We'll see him in that Raptor brush.
Kazi without flash really has to respect the fact that Kindred could work his way down towards the bottom lane and look for a gank. Of course, Kindred wants to get her marks early as well. Has marked Ahri in the mid lane. Nisqy, no flash on him. He doesn't really have much mobility until he gets to level 6. Another Howling Gale will find its mark, and Mickey starting to set up a little bit of a moving castle in the bottom lane with how many of these Howling Gales he has been able to land.
So it's really important that Mad play around their stacked waves. I feel very strongly that they need to dive this bot lane, because if you just let it play out the way that it's playing out...
I think they feel the same.
Oh god, it's G2 setting up the dive, and they're going to try and attack it while it's still weak. Kazi only level 2 right now.
Elioya is out of vision though. Yike's going to step forward, spots Elioya. He dashes in, dashes back with the decoy, wave pushing in. It's going to be 9 minions underneath the tower, and G2 will not look for any further part of the fight.
Yeah, the real test there is, could they pressure hard enough to get a Nisqy teleport while not fully committing?
Yeah.
And that is a dangerous game to play at that tower, so they just back off instead.
Another Howling Gale lands, the zap intercepted by Hylissang. That turret plate does fall.
So overall, good defense there from Mad. They also hold on to Nisqy's teleport from mid. Nisqy has the 6 CS lead still.
Yeah, that cover from Elyoya was so important.
Yeah.
If they had fallen behind in that dive, it would have been catastrophic. The advantage, though, that G2 gained is the double scuttle. While Yike did lose the 50-50, he then wins it because he gets 100%.
It's a weighted coin.
Yeah, sometimes you expend a lot to counter jungle away a red like that. And since Elyoya also had to cover bottom, he's going to be pretty far behind on this Wukong. Whenever you get an accelerated Kindred as well, everyone from solo queue has dealt with this before. So annoying. This champion is very good at coming into your...
Hilly. Like, sometimes Hilly sees these windows and sometimes they're immediately slammed in his face. He flashes the way, the heal comes out. The root as well will keep Hans Summer in place, and Hilly is able to escape.
Hashtag worth. He interrupted the backs, and he gets away with his life, medic.
And he got a summoner for Summoner's Trade.
Yeah,
actually,
did.
2 Hans Summer burnt Ghost.
There you go. Hashtag worth from his perspective.
I like
Hilly
that
things, man.
Vetty doing PR for Team Hillisang over here.
It's one of those things where trying to explain everything Hilly does is challenging, so instead you just try to understand it.
Yeah.
So, blind faith
yeah.
is worth a lot.
Yeah, man, Hilly, I love the expression, if you don't love him at his worst, how can you love him at his best, you know? Obviously a very storied player in Europe. He has made his way down into the mid lane. Mickey looking to do the same. Charm connects.
Hillisang's going to dash forward. Dredge line away from Caps. Stun connects with the concussive blows. The Howling Gale, though, from Mickey stops Mad Lions in their tracks, and Caps is able to escape
Niski 6.
to the relative safety of his tower. As you say, Niski does get 6. Hans Sommer's worked his way up from the bottom lane. Hillisang, no flash on him.
Oh, that's a good
Knocked
trap.
up. And Lyoya dodging away. Down to 300 HP as Yike dashes forward, but in the end, nothing happens in terms of deaths.
If Caps had dropped a couple minions mid and rotated quicker from mid for that, oh my goodness, that was going to be a massive pick for G2 because Carzzy was still on the bottom wave there. But without that Nautilus hook following up, and Caps was also a little chunked out, so maybe didn't want to get too risky with it.
So this is a wave where you'd consider maybe Mad want to try and dive, want to try and punish this Janna Jinx, but because the Braum was forced to go the long way around, they already gained access to the wave. They were able to thin it down. And of course, due to that earlier skirmish, Lyoya just didn't really have the HP to facilitate. So the number of windows to really punish this bot lane 2v2 are very quickly disappearing. And as long as Hans Sommer and Mickey have the freedom to lane, you're going to see how challenging it is for Hilly and Carzzy.
Yeah, we're going to see a cover here as Lyoya starts his recall in the brush.
Mickey shields himself, and in the end, much ado about nothing there, Kobe.
Yeah, if you see the mini-map during that last play, Lyoya, instead of Wolves, walks all the way down to recall in this brush by River, just on that wave crash. But then we have the reset from Yike. Kindred is fresh. Noon Quiver Spike for Kindred with red buff.
Only one stack that has marked the Braum. This ward in the bot bush will spot him as he steps forward, and with the wave pushing in towards Mad Lions, they can just back away and catch it. Cannon minion there for the taking. Yike trying to work his way across again as Caps looks for the dive. Flash hook. Hillisang blocks it. Carzzy knocked up with a death charge as well, and Hillisang will be the first to fall. Mickey takes him. Supportal combat in the bot lane.
That's what you know. That's what you want from Caps on the Nautilus. Get your ganks off. You're not going to win in that mid lane. Niski now will have a timer from mid because Caps dropped the minion wave and went bottom.
But Carzzy has flash. Yike not yet 6, needs 1 minion to get there. Mickey down, Carzzy looking for 2 but can't find it. In the end, G2 juggle the aggro well enough to make it a 1-for-1. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Lyoya looking for more. The charm goes out and Broken Blade will fall. Chasey died before all of that really happened, so I have to expect that Broken Blade was able to get that kill. The hook connects with the Spirit Rush from Niski. Still available, means that he can dash to safety.
And that's that price you pay. When your mid laner roams bottom, their mid laner are going to roam top. It's just the double down from G2 is good on bottom, so they get the extra kill. But Mickey taking the extra tower shot.
It's just Hillisang things, right? Yike doesn't have a huge amount of mana here. Hillisang keeps him around. Winter's Bite comes out. Hilly has the ignite. Yike, how much mana does Yike have? Does he have enough for the ultimate? Yike tries to turn it around. The ignite is ticking. A 1-for-1 in the bot lane.
Hashtag words for Hillisang as he gets himself a pick on the Yike. The Herald will be started by the Mad Lions. Caps and Mickey in the area. Hans Sommer on his way.
The eye opens up and Mad Lions start to put the damage down onto it. Mickey and Hans Sommer here to help out Caps. Chasey, Lyoya and Niski backing away. The patience expires and Shelly will go back to her
Wait, but Yike is
perch.
alive already. Wow, just the 3 members alone from G2 was enough to dissuade Mad from that. But yeah, welcome to the support of Europe.
Hilly is the biggest support chat I've ever seen in my life. Love it, love it.
It's a player that won't let you get away with anything, even if it costs him his life. G2 will now be the team to start off the Herald. Carzzy has arrived with the team. Red-white, as Medic loves to say, means that you fight. But their positioning is not ideal. Instead, they'll prioritize the waves. And Wukong looking to go back to base.
Lyoya does have ult and flash. Oh,
Gonna go in too late if he blast goes over now. Yike secures the Rift Herald. Too large a wave for Carzzy to ignore in the top lane means that Red-White meant let's farm this time instead.
that doesn't rhyme very well.
I'm so sorry. Red-White, it's right. We give it up to them. No, it's all right.
Stop now.
No? I'm sure someone in the crowd can think of a good one. As Hilly looking for more as Hans Sommer locked up for the moment, but
Nice knock up there from Mickey, just as the sun comes through. Handsome not in any danger because the CC was good from Mickey. Kazi does have a bit of an XP advantage over Hans. Elyoya makes his way up towards top lane. Yike here to cover.
Well. Moonlight Vigil goes wide. Kazi was looking for the Gravitum stun. Elyoya chased down towards the bottom side. The Cyclone from the clone will stop Yike from getting any closer, and in the end, an ultimate invested from both Kazi and Elyoya.
That is actually real big for Yike. They burned the first Wukong ultimate. Gonna reduce so many of the Mad options now as Yike chases him off of his little Kruglets. Those things, by the way, that's most of the camp.
Yeah,
I
it's
still
so
see,
much gold.
I still see people walking away from the little ones. That is the majority of the gold.
Wow.
It's a bit like Twiglets,
They're
not that
dive.
tasty,
Caps
but most of the
has
gold.
made his way up top lane. Niski is quickly following.
Hilly has Flash, has the 6 as well.
They gotta be
Kazi
quick.
under the tower, there's the TP invested, and G2 back away from it. Broken Blade now does get a bit of an opportunity to push in that bottom lane, and G2 able to back away from any further foray in the top lane.
Oh, so much value there. You draw all 5 members of Mad to the top side of the map. So big to
And
allow the unseen Cassiopeia to farm up.
It's a situation where typically Mad probably wouldn't have TP'd. They would have just taken the fight because Ari was on away. But the problem was Caps was so much ahead of Niski in the play that Nautilus could have done some very serious damage with that chain CC. They didn't want to risk it. Niski, though, wave throwing in mid does have a very sizable advantage in the mid lane.
It's 2 European teams here. We're in London and they're chanting TSM.
I'm sorry, what was that, Medius?
Niski, though, as you say, does have 1,000 gold lead, 30 CS lead as well. Yike looking for Chasey up towards this top side. The all-out available for the Kasante. Obviously has many tools to outplay as Broken Blade tries to dodge away down towards the bottom side. Yike going for the turret now, gets 1 plate. Hillisan going to mark off Broken Blade here, the miasma, as Broken Blade dodges in between the alcove. He's gaming right now. 2 tower plates fall in the top lane, but Broken Blade is locked up for the moment. Kazi trying to open up, but the Petrifying Gaze is blocked by the Unbreakable. The Twin Fangs can't get any further forward as Kazi tries to trade back, but Broken Blade stunned up, locked up, and killed off. In the end, Chasey has to back away in the top lane as Drift Hold comes down.
Yep, G2, they finish off the top turret. Broken Blade trapped inside the alcove. Can't quite get the outplay down there. Actually, nicely played by Karzi and Hilly. Karzi let Hilly actually proc most of the Braum stun. Then as soon as it gets done, he knows it's going to be dangerous going for the kill, but they do actually get it.
Caps now making his way to bot lane. Kazi doesn't have a huge amount of HP.
Hilly just used ult to stun. Like, you're not doing anything here. All you're doing is stopping him from getting to the wave. Oh, Niski. Everfrost lands, he dashes forward, looking for the Mickey, the charm comes out, but it goes wide as the Monsoon invested by Mickey to try and disengage for Hans Summer. He should be able to escape. Caps trading down towards this bottom lane as well as Elyoya has been caught. Mickey falls in the top lane, Elyoya able to dodge away for the moment. The Winter Spike comes out and Caps is distracted from Elyoya. Hilly starts his recall and in the end could just walk away.
Nice play from Niski. Recognizes where the backs are coming through and invests the ultimate to make sure that that doesn't happen. Meaning that Chasey, by popping the Ghost, can assist and secure that kill. Now, Hilly's the one whose back is being interrupted. Yike! Gets the steal, lands the smite. And will walk away with a small advantage. The gold, though, remains very even. A lot of it sitting in the back pocket of Niski. He has a 1.5k gold lead over Caps. To a degree, as expected, given the matchup, but I think that the inflation quite in favor in a way that you don't typically want, whereas Yike really where a lot of the gold is sitting for G2.
And I actually really like the value of the Mountain Drake that Mad Lions do have for their triple front line with Hilly, Elyoya, and Chasey. In this game, because there is actually so much counter-engaged, I kind of am on the feeling of whoever overextends first and tries too hard to get in a gate that's not like a pick or something, is going to have a more difficult time in the fight.
Especially into something like a Kindred and a Cassio,
Kindred,
right? You have
Cassio,
Lamb's
and
Respite,
Janna.
Petrifying Gaze. Yeah, it's so impossible for you to keep a fight going. See that gold difference at 14, presented by MasterCard. And as you said, Betty, a lot of the lead for G2, sitting on the shoulders of their rookie. It's his first international game after coming up from the international tournament, sorry, after coming up from the ERL.
Probably feels like home on the stage right now for Yike.
I don't know. People chanting TSM, how home would that be for you?
It's also jokes playing against NXT team.
That is true.
Just another day in the studio. Weekend as well, Saturday, first day of the week. Got games tomorrow and then Monday.
Sorry, all these LEC jokes you can't get. As an LCS guy.
Sitting in?
Hey, man. The Dragon spawning in 2 minutes' time. Don't expect that, obviously, to be the next objective. These outer towers are what these teams are primarily playing for right now. As G2 commit 4 to the top side of the map. Baron spawning in about 25 seconds. I'd be surprised if G2 did go for a very early Baron, but it does open up Mad to secure that bot out of tower, and Caps can just catch that wave as Nisqy pushes it in.
All right, now they just have to worry about these rotations. On the reset, I do feel like Mad have a lot of possibilities of pulling off picks here. Nisqy, after he finishes up that wave on bottom side, he has Flash and rank 2 ultimate here for the Ahri. So him plus the way that Hilly has been playing so aggressively, going to start fishing around here for G2 rotations as they start up the Herald.
Herald, I said Baron, I meant Herald.
I mean, they could do it in 5 minutes.
The baby Baron.
We'll start up the Herald, as you say. Mad Lions trying to peek in, but really can't get too close. Mickey keeping them at bay with the Howling Gale.
Cap stops Nisqy, but Nisqy, I think, ulted from the mini-map. Yeah.
He's looking for the damage. Everfrost coming out as well. The Unbreakable, but meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Miasma's down, and Hilly will fall, tries to flash away. Cap's trying to trade down towards this bottom side, has that Abyssal Mask already complete, and that is what a Nautilus can do. Flash away from Nisqy on 6 HP. But how are you going to get out of here? Well, with the help of Elyoya! The super mega death rocket is enough. Caps dashes away, flashes away, the Cyclone, the Riptide, but the estimating smash close enough to find its mark. Grifteld used in the mid lane as G2 push for more.
Oh, I'm getting dizzy with all the fights on all the different areas on the map. G2, they're able to spread out, send Cassio back to top to get the wave as well as pushing in mid. Wow, Caps almost wins the 1v1 versus the Ahri. Stopping the recall there. In the end,
as far as I'm concerned, he won it, Kobe.
He won the 1v1.
Nisqy was running with his tails between his legs.
If it wasn't for that pesky Jinx rocket.
It was.
That's the power of Abyssal Mask on the Nautilus. When you get this item, AP really doesn't work into you that well anymore. Yike as well, up to 5 stacks on the Kindred. Truly a champion now. And although Mad Lions will be able to secure their second Dragon of the game, it feels like things may be swinging slightly in favor of G2. And they're feeling themselves too. They look for the TP down towards this bottom lane. Broken Blade has the Petrifying Gaze. He's going to catch the wave, but Mad Lions can get to the safety of their tower for now. Nisqy has TP. Mad Lions start to retreat underneath the turret. G2 look for the dive. Elyoya dashing back with the clone. Yike now stepping forward. Kazi able to get away, but Broken Blade can chase him, and now that's a 1v1 up towards the top side, and Broken Blade has all the time in the world to work his way through Kazi. Kazi tries to do what he can, but through the Seraphs, just can't do enough. Nisqy TP's in. Broken Blade now isolated, a 1-for-1 so far, as G2 secure the tower. Caps fishing for a hook here and there. Nisqy dashing in with a charm as well, but in the end, you can't work your way through this Nautilus.
And it's still value there for Broken Blade, because he gets both summoners out of Karzi. They trade 1-for-1, and they get plus the objective. His team too far away to follow up with like Kindred ult or anything for him, but in the end, still positive play. They take over a lot more of the map.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how G2 executed that, because it's a 4v4, waiting for Han Summer to push in the bot wave, and Mad are saying, we don't want to face tank into this Cassio. Even though G2 was split, Mad were hesitant to commit, especially when you realize that Nisqy has a lot of the gold. If his TP had come in earlier, perhaps there was a window where they could have forced that fight, but it allowed G2 to secure the objective and get the TP out as well. You can see how, as the 3 members from G2 here, they're just kind of splitting Mad up. Then the 3 members of Mad get funneled away from Kazi. He tries to hold the flash for as long as he can, but Broken Blade still secures the kill. The TP then comes through, and when Nisqy is here, that's when Mad feel confident enough to go for the fight.
Yeah, they can trap him, but they still lose there for Mad. The teleport plus the tower.
And Miasma well placed as well by Broken Blade, meaning that no one could dash to get in range of the Aphelios. G2 with a 2,000 gold lead now. Elyoya spotted as Yike dives forward. Hilly can dash away. Elyoya uses the clone to get to safety, and we might be watching the death of Mad Lions here at MSI, and G2 finally finding a little bit of their form, although it hasn't been clean. I think a win can always switch momentum in your favor. Of course, the winner of this series will play up against the loser of BLG and JDG later in the week. What a matchup that's likely to be.
Yeah, I think G2 are doing such a good job of taking all the vision right now, because Mad Lions, their hope, find a pick to get back in this game so they can continue stacking their dragons. But if G2 are laying down all this vision through the jungle before they rotate over to the tower, Mad Lions don't really have an opportunity to find that separated member or pick anybody off. And G2 can just rotate, bully down another. Ooh.
Now already down, Elioya looking for a flank here, but spotted on vision. Mad Lions lose the tier 2 in the top lane. Niski loses half his health, as does Hylissang. Caps a little bit isolated from the rest of G2, but in the end, he can just walk his way back up towards the top side of the map and doesn't lose out on too much.
The miasma being used to just zone Mad Lions away from the tower was very well done by G2. It means that they do secure another tower, as you highlighted, Medic, and looks like Elioya, he was catching that mid wave. I thought that that would have brought him close to another item. It looks like that he should be. Regardless, we look at objectives now. We think about what is it that these teams want to play for. Ideally, Mad would love to take out some of these outer towers, but that's not going to be an option for them, as Broken Blade has a 2-level lead, going to zone Chasey away. But with the dragon spawning in about a minute and a half, you expect Mad to try and contest this with the objective that they have. I wouldn't be surprised if G2 actually trade for the Baron, which they're just going to start right now.
I mean, they do it so quickly. Cassio, Jinx, Kindred. You have 3 DPS checks on it. Caps can come in and tank, and now already the Baron down to 5,000 HP.
Is it a flip?
It's definitely a flip, Betty. We'll see which way it goes. The miasma coming down, though, stops them from getting into the pit, and now Hans Summer looks for a little bit more damage on the back of it. G2 secure the Baron and stop Mad Lions' advance.
And that's how you do it. It took us a while for all the Western teams, but the miasma down on enemy jungler, can't dash over. This Cassiopeia pick still playing dividends for G2.
The Nautilus ultimate as well to make sure that Elioya was properly CC'd. They were just like, nope, we will throw as much as we can to prevent you from getting into the pit. And G2 are able to secure that Baron and cement a 4,000 gold lead. The Dragon now spawns in 30 seconds. The resets come out from G2. They've been able to push in mid, they've been able to push out bot. They're likely going to concede this next mid wave, but they will still have access to the river. They can then send Caps to go and catch this mid wave. Or actually, the rotation is very quick from G2. The TP now comes through, and so we'll find another 5v5 in the river.
Fighting over the third dragon. TP behind Mad Lions here, and Chasey is locked up. Broken Blade keeps Chasey away from the rest of the team, and Chasey dives forward, all out onto Broken Blade, but Mad Lions all hailing the retreat. Chasey isolated, and G2 find him. He will go down to the fangs of Broken Blade, and now the dragon very much in G2's eyes.
Oh, G2 are so ready for that teleport. They instant answer. Broken Blade comes in behind them. They get the pick on the Cassante before the dragon's even there. That thing is free, and now they're looking for some more stragglers.
G2 still have this Red Bull Baron power play to play with for 90 more seconds, already 2.5k off it. And alongside that, it looks like it will be their first dragon of the game. Ocean, more to delay the soul than anything else, but while G2 do the Drake, Mad Lions look for the engage. Hansama stunned up, but Hilly is all by himself on the front line there, and now he's getting locked up by G2. Caps opens back up, Yike takes the kill. Kazi forced away, and he'll fall as well. It's 2 for Yike. Mad Lions look for something, but the door was slammed in their face.
And such is the name of this series as G2 wipe Mad Lions off the rift. 5 members strong, 3 members dead, 23 minutes in, and G2 could very well look to end the game right here, right now.
Only Elioya and Chasey left alive. Hylissang up in 5, though, means that G2 will just back away. They didn't even take the Ocean Drake in the end. Instead, they cracked open the base of Mad Lions and cracked the heads of their players.
Yeah, you know what the comms are for Mad Lions there. They're desperate at this point. They know they're down a person, so the only hope is to try and jump on the G2 members that are pushing while the rest of them are on Dragon. But G2 immediately pull off the Dragon. DPS comes to the rescue. They secure not only the kills, but the objective as well. Here was the hope, the desperation play from Mad Lions. Caps lives, Hansama lives, and then they turn.
And Niski was just not there, unfortunately for Mad. Like they ended up a 3v3, but so much time was bought by Caps' utility and just tankiness that G2 were able to very quickly collapse and turn this game once again, well, I say in their favor, it's just like cementing their control over the game, I should say rather. 7k is the goal difference. G2 with an exposed inhibitor in the bot lane just need to take their time, play through mid, play through top, start to squeeze Mad Lions for all they have left.
5 players strong. They'll push in this top lane. Caps is going to go and catch the mid wave as that does push forward. Broken Blade spotted with the far side automation. The charm coming out as well as Broken Blade is locked up, but they don't have the damage to get through him. And Caps comes in from the bottom side of the fight, and you're already down. Niski having to dash away with the spear rush. Hillisang trying to back up his teammate, but he'll be hooked for the good of it. Kazi and Chasey doing whatever they can, but all they can do is die in the face of G2.
It's time for the G2 victory lap. The door is open. Mad Lions down for the count.
It's the veritable Cain and Abel story here. Brother killing brother, and G2 are looking to take their place in the next round. Mad Lions did everything they could, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. We've gone biblical, fratricide, as G2 sweep Mad Lions and will make their way into the next round. But before they do, they want a little bit more. They want every ounce of blood they can find. Mad Lions lose as G2 go 3-0.
G2 will get their revenge from Spring after losing a nail-biter 3-2 series in the lower bracket of the LEC playoffs at MSI. They will now be the LEC's only representative, but they will do so in convincing fashion, 3-0. And now they will have to fight their way to the international lower bracket, the first of its kind, with only stronger opponents lying in wait.
Really enjoying the versatility G2 showing here on stage 2. The Cassiopeia pick, but also the Janna pick in bottom side of the map. Mickey hitting tornado after tornado. Showing a lot more of possible counter 5-on-5 options here with so much of the meta, revolving around these dragon fights, around these objectives.
And of course, for G2, it's a level up. Being able to pick some wins up on the MSI stage is great, but they only have a couple of days before they face off against whoever it is from the LPL, and you have to feel they need another step, they need another gear if they're really going to be able to challenge a BLG or even a JDG if they do get knocked down into the lower bracket.
Yeah, Mad Lions, they're naturally going to be disappointed with their performance. Not a single win here at this year's MSI. Nothing but struggling, both against T1 and G2. Second seeds seem to be their kryptonite at this tournament. And of course, they will be rejoining us in the LEC in summer, but a lot to look back on and reflect upon as they return in summer.
And it is a punishing format, right? Like, if you match up against two teams that you don't have a good read on, that somehow are beating you out in draft, you don't have another opportunity to bounce back. Whereas in the past, you had a bunch of best of ones. It's like, okay, we think we match up well into this team. We don't match up well into this team, and you're only losing one game at a time. Whereas obviously, Mad here, 0-6, as you say, Betty. G2, though, beginning to show some signs of life. I don't want to say they are revived yet. Perhaps
sure.
A bit of a ventricular arrhythmia, but maybe if you get the right paddles on, we can bring them back.
I mean, G2 continue this roster has always been quite creative with the champions that they're willing to bring out, and Broken Blade continuing that trend in the top side of the map. You talked a lot, Kobe, about his pocket picks, and while he showcased the Cassio, I wouldn't be surprised to see more come out. But yeah, impressive stuff from G2 overall. They showcased some strong performances, some very hectic ones, but we'll see how they bounce back as they have to make that run through the lower bracket.
Don't worry, North America already softened up the LPL teams for you.
Thank you, Kobe.
So they're primed. I'm sure you're going to have an easy time.
We just need, Licorice. Although Broken Blade probably playing at a similar level to Licorice, at least in this series. So perhaps Cassante top, you get some solo kills, see what we can do.
And huge credit to Yak. I think overall he continues this high level of performance. A young player performing on the international stage is always a pleasure to see. We'll see if he can continue that level of performance throughout the tournament, because really he was a big shining light in that series against Gen G. And I think that, again, 6-1 and 5 on the Kindred. He actually had, the second highest gold, only behind,